Hi there, and welcome to my channel. The recovery from anorexia channel. I forgot what I called it. I think it's how I recovered from anorexia. My story. I don't know. I keep changing the name up, and I forgot to look at last week, my last video, to see what it said. Well, I hope I don't do this the whole time. I tend to do that when I start talking. Is this camera on an angle? Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about, and if you've been watching my other videos that I have on here, I don't have very many, but I talked about kind of symptoms of anorexia, what to expect, sort of, how people can talk to you if you have anorexia, and then just my latest one, my last one, was talking about my story, which I think that might help some people feel better, but not better, but like, it helped me hearing someone else who had the same problem I did. It's like, you kind of feel alone, so when you hear someone else speak of the stuff that you go through, or you've been through, or that you're currently fighting, it's kind of in a way, it's kind of a relief, because like, I'm not alone. There are people struggling with this, and there are people recovering from this. So what I would like to get out of this is people that are struggling with anorexia. I would like for maybe my story and whatever else I'm talking about, I would like for it to help, to really truly help. Because one problem I had was I was wanting help towards like a couple years ago when I was just on a bad relapse, real bad, and I didn't know what to do. My brain, I just could not get it to focus to recover. I was like, I wanted to so bad, but I didn't know what to do, where to start, how can I recover, how can I get over this mental problem. And that's what it is. It's a mental problem. It's a disease that kills a lot of people, and if it doesn't kill you, then you're just living with it for the rest of your life, and you're miserable, which really sucks. But anyway, I was looking for a solution, for someone to help me. So I went to all these websites, and I called around to see who in, my town, had a clinic to help people. And yeah, I found some, but my gosh, you can't talk to someone without it being like $200 fee to just get, into their system, into their program. And I didn't have that money to do just that, or I certainly didn't have the money to do the inpatient treatment thing, which I was really almost debating if that's what I needed, because it was just, I felt lost, I felt out of control, I needed someone else to talk to and someone to help me, but no, I didn't have anybody. I just had my family and myself. And sometimes my family, I didn't want to bring them into my problems, so I wouldn't talk to them about what I was going through. I was just kind of, say, yeah, I'm feeling better, I'm recovering, I'm eating more, when I really wasn't. I was still in that zone where I know if I said that, they would stop asking me questions, and that's what I wanted. I just wanted to be left alone, like most anorexic people do. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be a counselor, a free counselor for you, letting you know that, this is a big one, that anorexia recovery is possible. I'm a result of that, because I was down to 87 pounds. If you watched my last video, I did a picture, and I'm kind of tired of showing that picture, because it's just like, I shudder at it, because it's like, that's not me at all. I'm full figured, I'm thick, I got thick thighs and thick arms, that's me. And some people, maybe they weren't thick when they started, they were just kind of normal size, or even maybe a little skinny or thin, and then they just went beyond that and just got sickly. So hopefully my story, and letting y'all know how I went through certain things, which this is a triggering video. My videos are triggering because I do talk about weight, calories, food, exercise, things I went through, things I thought about, things I did. Just, yeah, so this could be very triggering for people who are, in the midst of recovery, because I know what that trigger is like. It's pretty bad. But just a forewarning, I am going to be finishing more of my story, and then I will just continue to talk about how I've recovered and how I'm living today and how much more happier I am. Okay, so where I left off was probably like January of 2008. That's when I was hitting my big time, my lowest weight. Well, probably not even the lowest weight. Lowest was summer of 2008, so I was still just kind of getting there in 2008. But I went to dance class 5 to 6 days a week, teaching and dancing and all that jazz. So that's physical activity, that's physical work that I did all the time, along with another job I had, which was at a pet store. I'm trying to think when I quit there. Anyway, now, what I would do on dance days is, well, first of all, I'd go to work, and I told you about that story about me going to work, hardly eating anything. One thing I used to do all the time was I would go up to Subway. There was a Subway right near my job, and I would go get 2 double chocolate chip cookies, dark chocolate. It was like there was a chocolate cookie, and I would say I bought a sub and I already ate it at work. I didn't. I never bought a sub for myself. I was like, no way I'm gonna eat a Subway. Pfft, are you kidding? That was just my attitude. It's like, I'm not eating a sub, but I'll get the cookies. And so I did get the cookies, and right from work, Carrie, my sister, would pick me up and we'd go to the dance studio where we'd sit for a little bit and eat our cookies, because I had already eaten my Subway. So it was okay that I was just eating the cookie. And I wasn't really eating all the cookie. I was just eating the chocolate chip bits, the white chocolate chip bits in it. And the rest I threw away. I did that quite a lot, actually. A lot. I wasted a lot of food, and I feel terrible about it now. I really do. I mean, that was a lot of food. But in a certain instance, it was just cookie bits. And then from there, I would get dressed, and we would do a day of dance classes, usually like from 4 to 9, so 5 hours of solid dance. Teaching and dance. And of course, I had to do, when we do exercises, I made sure that I was in there to do it. And I would always conduct, you know, I'd want to be doing the dances with the kids most of the time. When they could do it on their own, I would stop because I knew they had to do it on their own. But I would just make sure that I stayed as active as possible, and I never ate anything during our dance class. Never. Let me make sure this is recording. Okay. I just felt, I mean, it's pretty bad because other people would be eating, and I couldn't. I'd pretend like I would bite into a huge bite of a candy bar, and I would keep it in my mouth, maybe chew it a little bit, and I would spit as much out of it as I could. Of course, some of it was left in my mouth, and I actually used what was left in my mouth as energy for the rest of the night. Literally, it was like a half a teaspoon, if that much, of chocolate left in my mouth. But that gave me energy because I didn't feed myself very much, and that worked. Then after dance class, no matter what it was, we would either hang out at the studio for a little bit and eat a snack, like a bag of chips, or going home and eat a bag of chips on the way home. And that bag of chips was like my saving grace. I loved it because that was something I was allowed to eat because I had just finished a whole day of dance, so I was allowed to eat a bag of chips, which consequently was part of my dinner. Just that small bag of chips was actually part of my dinner. And whatever else I ate or got to eat, I made sure I ate as little of it as possible. If we get anything from a place, I would just eat a tiny bit of it, the topping or the lettuce from it, and then maybe a snack of something sweet, and then that was it. I mean, I remember the way I felt every single, Arthur, my squirrel squeaking. And then I hated going to bed. I might have already mentioned this, but it's like, I knew, oh wait, I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot. Right when I got home from our drive home after dance and we had food or whatever, I would have to go work out. And the workout I did took about an hour. 45 minutes probably. But I mean, I would be in my room for so long. They'd be like, what takes you so long in your room? What are you doing? And that freaked me out because I'm like, I don't tell them. I'm not going to say what I do in here. But it was my exercise. And I just said, well, I cleaned up my room and then I did this and that and I had to use the bathroom. And I guess they bought it. I don't know. I really don't know. They probably were just tired of it. And then I would go sit down and watch TV and eat. And eat. Yeah, and after that, bedtime. After a workout, of course. Because I couldn't eat anything without exercising afterwards. And that continued all the way up to recital. I would do the same routine because one thing anorexics do is we get stuck in routines and behaviors, and it's like you cannot stop that routine. I've probably mentioned this before, sorry if I'm repeating myself, but it's so baffling in my head how I could not stop a routine. I had to do it, otherwise I'd feel panicky, anxious the whole night. That would be all I would think about, was how I missed my workout, how I've got to go do it before I eat anything else. I have to do this workout. And I did my workout because I knew otherwise it would be, disaster. Otherwise I would be panicky and not be able to eat anything. So I did it, and then I went in there and I ate my little bit, then go to bed before my sister and do a workout, and then go to bed. Just to get up and start it all over and be in misery, because I hated living back then. I hated it. I was like, why did I get myself into this? I knew better. That's what I kept saying, is I know better than this. I know about nutrition and exercise and how to do it the right way, and my brother had gone through anorexia, so I knew what it looked like. And I mean, that was like at least 10 years before I went through it, but still, it's like, I remember saying that, it's like, I would never go through that. That's awful. I can never not eat. And, well, yeah, I went through that, and I was actually able to not eat. But one thing about anorexics, I'm not it anymore, but I had great willpower. Who else do you know that can eat only one chip? I could. Now it's like, I've got to stop myself from eating the entire bag. Because chips are delicious. Chips are delicious. So after dance, yeah, then comes the recital and rehearsal. So rehearsal and recital were 2 days. Rehearsal was 1 day, literally all day long. We got it at the auditorium that we're practicing at probably like around 9 or 7 in the morning. I forgot times exactly, but I'd barely eat breakfast, knowing I was going to be dancing all day long. I'd barely eat breakfast. Probably had like a bite of a protein bar or something, and that was my breakfast and my snack. And then we'd do our dances. We'd have to set up the auditorium. Then we'd have to do dances twice. Everything was done twice at rehearsal to get it done right, except for the ballet, because that's usually long. And then we'd have little breaks, and I would see people eating pizza and everything, and that made me anxious seeing people eat, because it's like, I would smell it, and I would see girls sitting down and talking and enjoying their food, and the whole time I'm thinking, I was glad I wasn't eating it. I wanted it, but I was looking going, I'm not gonna eat that. What are they thinking? We're dancing, I'm not gonna eat. No way. I just kept thinking, I was like, they're crazy. And we also had Raisinets in my room, and I remember taking maybe 1 or 2 of those. Like 2 tiny Raisinets to get me through the rest of the day. When we were like halfway through the rehearsal. It was like a solid, I want to say almost a solid 12-hour work day. Because it was like non-stop. And it took forever, we had to do extra stuff. And I would hardly eat, go home, hardly eat. I mean, I'd be allowed to eat at certain times and certain foods. Same thing with the recital. Recital wasn't as long, but the same thing. I knew that that night, though, that we had a we'd go eat out after recital, and that freaked me out. 'Cause I'm like, I know I'm going to be having to eat, so I better not eat anything, even though I was about to ready to pass out, and it looked horrible. I need to find some recital pictures of that year, because, yeah, I looked bad. I looked like I was about to keel over. I was way paler than I am right now. And I just remember it took every ounce of my being to do all those dances I did. And the really sad thing is when I was doing those dances, I was putting a lot into it. I was putting everything I had into my dances, and smiling and trying to ignore the hunger pains I was having. And I had actually popped a left hamstring the night before at rehearsal, so I couldn't kick my left leg probably higher than 90, or, you know, like that, whatever that is. So I was miserable in recital, and I just felt kind of like I was watching from inside my head. I felt like I wasn't really there, because I really wasn't. You're not really there. Something else is controlling every single step you take, every single move you make. It is watching you. I had to. I'm sorry. Anyway, so that was it was a horrible night. Then we went out to eat, and of course I didn't eat very much. I don't know, where did we go that year? I don't remember where we went, but I made sure I got something probably really low in calorie, and probably didn't eat very much of it, because I honestly don't remember. I really don't. Anyway, back to the point of me putting everything into it. When I watched the video of me dancing and thinking, I hope I look okay, because I know I was putting so much into it, it looked like I was barely dancing. It looked like I could barely move. I'm just going, that didn't look like what I was feeling, because it wasn't. I was totally unable to get out what I was feeling on the inside. I wanted to dance my heart out, and which I did, but then it looked like nothing. I was like, that's horrible. I looked horrible. And then recital was done, and my routines kept on, same as everything. I even did my routine at home after the recital, because that dance day wasn't enough, I guess. The routine is there. You have to do it every day. No matter what kind of day it was. No matter what kind of day it was, you had to do it. And I did. Okay. Moving on to the summer of 2008. I don't know if I want to do that in the next video. I think I'll just do a little bit of talk about some ways I would eat, or what I would eat and what I would do. And I want to see if this is maybe things that you do too. So that's kind of what, these are my triggering moments where I'm talking about food and what I did with food. And I want to see if you're doing the same thing. And that it's okay, because you are going to get over it. Because I used to do a lot of weird stuff with food. I made sure I didn't eat hardly anything. Like, for instance, we'd get nachos, like a Nacho Supreme from Taco Bell. And I would get a couple tacos with it. All I'd eat from that were the toppings on the taco, which didn't include the meat. It was just cheese and lettuce. And then my Nachos Nacho Supreme, I would just eat the topping. Just the cheese, and that was my allowance. I could actually eat that because I was allowed to eat it because I had danced all day. And I could eat that. So I savored every bite. It's like, for that little bit, I was back. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I'd eat just the toppings, the cheese, the beans, and back then I ate meat. I'm a vegetarian now just because complications due to anorexia is why meat hurts my stomach. It hurts my body. I don't know. I cut it out and I feel great. Anyway, that doesn't mean you have to. We're going to go over that stuff too. Okay? Anyway, that was one thing I did. Another thing, if we got hamburgers, I would be okay. I would be allowed to eat a couple fries with ketchup And that was it. I couldn't eat any more after that. Unless there were just tiny little hard pieces. I love those things. And then the topping of the burger. I would never eat the meat of the burger. I would only eat the lettuce and tomato and like ketchup. And if I got chicken, I would actually eat the chicken. But that actually made me really full. I say actually a lot. So I would eat the chicken. Because that one from Wendy's was really good with that sauce on it. So I enjoyed that. And I was freaking full the whole night because I would eat the chicken. And I would go to bed. So that was another thing. I almost got caught a few times because I would put the chips and the tips from the Nacho Supreme, I would actually put in my pocket because I know I couldn't put them in the trash because Carrie would see it because we sat in the same room together while we ate. Same with the burger buns and the burger. I would usually put it back in the bag that it came in, and I would be the one to throw it away. I made sure that I threw it away. Or I would just hide it underneath all the trash in our little trash can that we had in there. And one time, I took my nachos, whatever I was eating, and I put it in the drawer where I was sitting at the desk, knowing I was going to take it out and go throw it away when I left. But I forgot about it, and she actually found it and called me. I was like, I found your food you hid. I mean, I was like devastated and like shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? And I played it off like, I forgot now what I was going to say. I think at one point I said, like, I was gonna eat it later, even though it was kind of crumpled up and gross looking. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna eat that later. Why are you throwing it away? I kind of turned it around. And then one time I even said, my stomach started hurting. I couldn't finish the rest of it, so I just put it in there so you wouldn't say anything if you saw it in the trash. Because I kind of like, I came forward with it because I knew that she watched me like a hawk. I loved it when she would kind of like go and I would be alone at home. I was able to eat. I was able to not eat as much as I wanted to. And when she was around, I knew I had to be careful about where I put my stuff that I didn't eat. Another thing with Ensures, they made me drink a lot of Ensures, but I didn't really drink them. I would get it, I'd take like a tiny little tongueful, let's go ahead, that. And then I'd dump the rest out and fill it with water and drink the water in it and make it look like I was drinking liquid. Which I was, it's just one of the liquid I needed. So that was another thing I did. And I did lots of little conniving things. I'm like, you little sneak. I mean, I could sneak food anywhere. Restaurants was hard. I admit that. The restaurants was really hard. I was quick though. Let me tell you, I was a quick food hider. Cause yeah, several times there'd be like a lot more food on my plate than I wanted, and I would just start chewing and putting it in my mouth, and then I'd go to blow my nose, and I would cup my hand and spit it out in the napkin like that. And usually I'd have a hoodie on with pockets, and I'd stick that napkin in my pockets, and later on I'd stick that in my purse so that way I could walk and I'll have this big bulge on my stomach. I did that a lot at restaurants. It's sad because I wasted a lot of food, and sometimes I would even drop some on the floor before, and I felt bad because I'm like, someone's gonna have to clean this up. It's ridiculous, but I did it anyway because I couldn't stop. Isn't it sounding weird? Does it sound weird to hear things like that? Because I'm like going, God, it was wacky, but it's not really me. I know it was a disorder that took over my mind and my thinking, a mental disorder actually. But it's just, I look back, I'm like, why did I let myself do that? Why can I stop myself? And I to this day I don't know. But I need to stop looking back and going like that and just keep looking forward, because forward is pretty good. Sorry. But yeah, that's just, oh my gosh, this one time we went to Sonic and we were gonna eat ice cream in the car. I was like, there's no place for me to dump this. There was nothing for me to do. well, in my head, I'm like, luckily. Back then, the eating disorder was like, okay, that's fine. We know we're going to Sonic to get ice cream. Grab some Walmart bags. But make sure they don't have holes in them. I think you see where this is going. Yeah. So I got Walmart bags and I put them in my purse. And then when I got the ice cream, I was in the back seat, of course. And I did eat like the whipped cream off the top and like a swig of it, like a sip. And then the rest I dumped in the Walmart bags and tied it up really good. Like I brought 2 or 3 and left it in my purse. And so I had finished my milkshake. Supposedly. And I didn't. I missed out on so much delicious food. I missed out because of worrying about, you know, scared of the calories in it. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. Being scared of food. I made fun of my brother when he was going through anorexia. I was like, you're scared of food? And then here I am. I'm scared of food. It's just fuel for your body. It's medicine for your body. It can be medicine when you're recovering. But it's definitely fuel, because when I ate a corn on the cob, like all of it, and I was like hyper from corn. That's how malnourished I was. Anyway, that's just kind of another part of my story. That's some stuff I went through. And some of my thoughts on that. And how just, now I look back and go, so sorry. I'm sorry you did that. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. I am going to continue with my 2008 year because I see that's very distinctive to me, because that's when I was almost at my worst. And then I'll just kind of keep going through my journey, and then we'll talk about, you know, me now. Of course, you see me now. I have a figure again. I'm thick and I'm healthy, and my hair feels much healthier, even though now it looks kind of oily. But back then I just felt bad. I felt miserable and like in a fog, if that makes sense. I felt in a fog most of the time, tired all the time. It was just ridiculous. But that's okay, because I got over it. And I believe that if you are having trouble with this disorder, the eating disorder, anorexia, I believe that if you take some of my advice, you might be able to get over it. I'm sure you will get over it. I'm gonna say you will get over it because you're a fighter. Because you've looked up how to recover from anorexia. Therefore, you're a step closer, which is awesome. And I hope you get something out of my videos, because I know there's tons of girls out there posting all kinds of videos of recovery and showing food and actually eating it in front of you. And I'm not there yet. I'm just wanting to talk about it first, and I can show you what me eating. You can check out my other channel. I eat all the time on that one, but it's just it's a daily channel. It's called the Redhead Review. I'll put a link down in the description if I get to do that. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it a night because I got some other stuff to do, and I'm actually getting hungry because I'm gonna go eat. But I'll continue with my 2008 year because we still gotta go into the summer. I gotta let you know what happened in the summer of 2008, so please stay tuned so you can hear what happened to me then. I guess with that said, guys, I'm hungry and I'm gonna go eat.